In today's video, I'm going to look at onion skinning and explain what it is and how you use it. So stay tuned. Hey guys, my name is Eon and welcome to my Start Animating YouTube channel, the channel that is specifically aimed at everyone that is new to animation. And if that is you, welcome, you are at the right place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also click on that little notification bell so that you can get notified every week when I upload a brand new video. Now today we're going to look at onion skinning. Now onion skinning is something that was crucial back in the day, especially when they still did hand-drawn animation. It is still being used today, but with animation software, with 3D animation, you don't really need it. But it is still important to know it, to understand it, because it will really help you, even with animation software nowadays. So, what is onion skinning? Well, basically, it is just back in the day, they drew the animation on paper, and the animation desk had a light from the bottom, so when they put the paper on, the light will shine through and you can actually see all the different poses that you've already drawn. So basically in animation, if you know animation, you'll know about blocking and in-betweens. So what you basically do, or what the animators did, is they will put the block, the key poses, they'll put that on the desk, and so with the light shining through, they can see both the key poses, and then it's very easy to draw the in-betweens because you've got two images that you can use as your reference, and now you can just draw the middle one. So that is basically what they did back in the days to make sure the movement is correct. So they'll use onion skinning to do that. So because we don't use hand-drawn animation nowadays, onion skinning isn't that important. For example, I use Cartoon Animator for my 2D animation, and I don't use onion skinning at all. But if you still do your hand-drawn animations, for example, a show like Klaus. Klaus was a hand-drawn animation. So even though they did use animation software to create the show, they still probably used your onion skinning to get that in between frames right. So if I can just quickly show you a quick example of how it works. Now I'm not gonna use my animation software. This is just an illustration of what I'm gonna do. Here I've got my two key poses. So this is a ball that moves, and what I also want to do is I want a slow in, slow out. So I'm going to show you. Okay, so I've got my two key poses. Okay, so this is my first keyframe, and you'll see I've got it here, 1, and then this is the final keyframe, keyframe 5. So let's say, for example, this ball takes 5 frames to move from point A to point B, and so there is my 5 frames. So now the first thing I need to do is I need to create an in-between. So I can now use these two as my reference. So if I select both, let's say for example now it is like I'm using it as a tracing paper. Got the wrong one selected. Okay, let's drop the opacity. Okay, so now let's say now I've got my new paper. So those two is a little bit transparent, but for example, it is shining through. I've put a paper, so it is shining through the paper. So there's my first one. So now I want to draw the middle, the in-between. Okay, so now I can actually see, okay, I need to draw it right here in the middle. So if I do that, that is probably where it will be. So I can move it around and see, okay, no, that is not the right place. That's not the right place. Okay, it kind of needs to be right there. So I've got my in between, but if I'm going to press play, it's going to be a smooth motion. So obviously I want a slow in, slow out. Now I can use keyframe 1 and keyframe 3 as my reference. So let's drop the opacity of that one as well. Okay, so now I want an in-between there. Okay, so if I do that, there it is. Now if I want a slow in, slow out, I'm not going to put it right there. I'm going to move it obviously in a little bit, and there we go. And then obviously for the fourth keyframe, I'm going to use these two as my reference, and there we go. Obviously I don't want it to be there in the middle, I want it to be there, and there I've got my slow in, slow out. And so as you can see, your onion skinning is basically using previous drawings as a reference to draw your in-betweens. Now again, with 3D animation, you'll probably don't need this, because what happens with 3D animation is you will have your, let's make that so what will happen is with 3D animation, you will create your first key pose, or you'll block that in, you'll block in your second key pose, and then the animation software will fill in everything in between. It will fill in these three frames, and then with a graph editor you can just adjust the slow in, slow out. So with 3D animation you don't need onion skinning. With certain animation software like Cartoon Animator, you don't excuse me, you don't need onion skinning. But with other software, it is a great tool to get your poses right, to get your in-betweens right. It is just a great reference point. So guys, that is onion skinning. It is a method used back in the day by the animators, especially with Disney, etc. But actually all animators back in the day that did animation by hand. But you will still see a lot of 2D animation softwares having the onion skinning option available for you. So if you ever see it, then you know exactly what it is and how to use it. So especially if you are new to animation, it is just good to know what it is, and I hope this video explained. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask in the comments below. I'd love to answer questions. You'll maybe give me some suggestions for future videos, etc. But also, if you are new to animation and you've never animated before, you don't know where to begin, I've created a free online video training. It is absolutely free, and with that training you work alongside with me, and by the end of the video you would have created your very first animation. And that is what I want. I want you to start. I don't want you just to watch a video. I actually want you to work alongside the video, and by the end of the video you would have created your very own animation. And that is a great starting point. So if you are interested, in the description box below there's a link. Just click there, and you can just sign up and you can take that online course. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful. It was a very short video in comparisons to other videos, but yeah, feel free, if you enjoyed it, click that like button. Also click on that subscribe and notification bell to get notified next week when I release a new video. So guys, from me, Eon, I will see you guys next week with another video. God bless and happy animating.